My name's Ross Park. I work here, Adams Reid and Hockin, funeral directors, with my wife, my mother-in-law, father-in-law, and 3 colleagues who work full-time with us. Doing the job that I do day to day it's very rewarding. I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy helping them at what is essentially a lowest part of their life, on their worst day, possibly. We do get emotionally involved with the families, and it's important that you do that in order to give them what they need. I enjoy being able to look after their loved one. Leading up to the first lockdown, the worries and concerns we had, there was no great guidelines on what PPE we should be and shouldn't be using. We had to make our own judgment on that. I myself am type 1 diabetic. I was told to shield. So that gave another variable into the whole setup. I wasn't really supposed to be out of the house, but because of the job we do, it's very difficult to not be out of the house. I tried the best I could to shield. However, it got to a point where one of our employees suffered a really sudden bereavement, and he had to take time off work. That's when I then had to say, well, I've got to go back to work. We were having to let families know what the restrictions were, what they could do, what the demands on them were. In the job we do anyways, we have to do some difficult things and say some difficult things to people. This just made it worse somehow, because part of the grieving process for a family is to get together and put their arms around each other, hug each other, and say, it's going to be all right. We're going through the mill now, but it's going to be okay. When families couldn't get together and do that, it was bubbles. And if that bubble was too big, they couldn't all be at the service. Initially, our limit was 12 in the crematorium chapel. Church services were stopped. All church services. We couldn't have a service in the church building. For a burial, we had a graveside service. The limits were 12 again. What we were finding was, even though we told the family it was 12 people, there would be more people. There would be 12 around the grave, but there'd be more spread about round in the cemetery to try and get more people there. Whether that was right or wrong, I don't know, but it didn't seem to do any harm at the time. One of the lasting memories that I will take from it all was in the first lockdown, when we were dealing with families who had loved ones passing with COVID, because that was when it was quite busy for us at times. And the tale of a family who couldn't actually get access to a care home, and they watched their mother, grandmother, mother-in-law die through a window. And to me, that's almost barbaric. Whether they get over that fully ever, who knows? That's a tough one to take away. There are all sorts went on in there as well. The way we didn't have any guidelines initially as to what we had to do, how we had to deal with the deceased, and we had to go with our best guess. When the guidelines did come, it wasn't far away from what we were doing anyways. But the fact those families couldn't see their mother, father, brother, sister, whoever, that had a profound effect on them. But also, it made us look at things differently. because we were told to minimise our exposure ourselves. And the job we do, we are basically looking after that person, that deceased, with the utmost respect and dignity. And I think at times we couldn't afford them that because of the restrictions that were in place for us. And that was sad, the fact we couldn't actually do that. I think communities are stronger since then. People are more aware of other people, aware of them being there. I know definitely where we live in Cleator, it's a tight community anyways, but it made the community tighter. Little groups set up, or big groups it turned out, to help do chemist runs for people who couldn't get out of the home, go shopping for the aged people. So I think it's a positive that the community got tighter, which is strange when you think we weren't supposed to be mixing, but somehow it just made people tighter.